Welcome to Hot Flash Chronicles, where midlife is messy, menopause is madness, and we're sweating through it together.
We're Angie and Shelly, two caffeine-fueled, slightly inappropriate grandmas who say what everyone's thinking.
So grab a drink, crank up the AC, and let's dive in.
Welcome to today's episode, where we're going to explore something super fun, guilty pleasures.
I love that.
With me, Shelly.
And I'm Angie. Welcome to the podcast.
So this one is always fun because I have a lot of guilt.
Well, we're guilty as charged, and we have a lot of pleasures.
I think so. And this can be broken down into, I have so many that I have to categorize them because there's food guilty pleasures.
Yeah.
There's trashy.
We can just rapid fire stuff.
Ooh.
Okay. Just off the... So, fun fact about us, we don't script any of this aside from the topic of the episode. We're just riffing. There's no make sure we talk about this and this. No.
It's not.
It's just, so we don't know what we're about to talk about. So hang on tight. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So what do you think, if you had top 3 guilty pleasures, today?
Okay.
What are those?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So just shopping for something that I don't.
You do love shopping.
I love shopping.
Oh, and your nails done.
And I got my nails.
They look very pretty.
Getting my nails done.
So pretty. I'm getting mine done tomorrow.
So I like pampering. Pampering?
Pampering.
That's a word.
Not diapers. Not diaper pampers.
We're not there yet. Maybe in a year.
It would be depends, not
Yeah.
pampers.
Yeah. Maybe I need to start investing in that company. So definitely shopping for things I don't really need.
Mm-hmm.
Any kind of manicure, pedicure. I love that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And gosh, and I'm going to go, this is not going to surprise you, coffee. I really like indulgent, I'm not sponsored by a coffee. We should. Coffee, Java companies out there, anybody, if this is the podcast, I will promote you every friggin' episode.
Yeah, accurate.
So, okay, same for you, 3. Now.
I love Trashy Reality TV. I love baking, anything baking.
Mm-hmm.
And I also love the mani-pedi, getting your hair, getting your brows, even though I'm allergic to makeup and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a fun fact. If you're allergic to makeup, if I were to do my hair way up and dress real fancy and everything, your subconscious view of me would be something's not quite right because I'm not wearing makeup.
Uh-huh.
So that's why I'm a more casual dresser.
Yeah.
Because, and I do my hair, but I don't she's got updo situation right now.
Updo, whatever.
Yes. So I realized that I can't, and not that I can't. It doesn't make sense for me to dress up a lot of the time because if I'm not wearing makeup, it doesn't quite compute. Yeah. And I can only wear makeup once a month.
I gotcha.
Isn't that interesting?
I think that, I mean, it is kind of a mental, when you get a first impression of someone, you kind of take in the whole pictures.
I'm just a casual girl.
Yeah.
But the way that I fancy myself up is through nails. I do eyelashes. I can't do the extensions because I'm also allergic to every glue and lash possible. So I do something called flutter set. They're little clusters that you put on and they last for 7 to 10 days. Are amazing.
That's great.
So that's how I girly myself up. But it's it kind of sucks that I can't do fancy makeup every day. So, but it's whatever. But the way that I like to pamper myself is through nails and hair and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think, guilty pleasure just as a whole. When I think about that example of dressing up, I sing in a quartet and we get very fancy.
You two get very fancy.
We do the sequins and
Hot Notes Quartet.
Hot Notes Quartet. Go check it out. But we dress up and that is kind of a fun, it reminds me when you're a little kid and you would play dress up.
Right.
So when I want to get really fancy, that's an opportunity to do that. But I kind of run the gamut. I can be very casual, and I like to wear just hoodies and t-shirts and be comfy. I always kind of do my hair and makeup just because it's a mental game for me.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to a job before I telecommuted, I've telecommuted for the last 20 years, but back in the day when I had to go into an office, that was part of that ritual of I'm ready for work, I'm facing my day, I put on my makeup and go and do it. So I still have kind of stuck with that.
Right.
Yeah. It's part of
You're always very put together. Like
not mentally.
Visually. Yeah. But you have like a pinup vibe. And if pinup vibe doesn't land if you don't have makeup.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really hard to do pinup without makeup.
Yeah, you can't. I think that's part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But so I think a guilty pleasure too, though, for me is where I have days at home where I am in my pajamas the whole day.
So if you're in your jammies all day and like there's nobody judging you.
There better not be.
No pets judging you.
No.
And you have nothing on your to-do list. What are you doing? How are you spending your day?
Oh my gosh. So when I do one of those, there will 100% at some point of the day, there will be a nap in my living room on the couch.
I'm so jealous.
With 3 small chihuahuas that
I can't nap anymore.
Oh.
I literally can't take a nap.
I could do one right now. I might take one about 5 minutes.
Sleep. Like at night I have a hard time sleeping, but during the day, like no chance.
I can't nap for very long.
Yeah.
I can't go for more than like 35 minutes or it messes with sleep later. So a short, indulgent, quick cut to the chase nap. And I'm going to watch TV. I'm maybe going to watch an old movie, something like a musical or something my husband would never be caught dead watching. He won't watch those.
Right.
So it could be that, or I might listen to music, or I might, it's going to have popcorn at some point.
Oh, okay.
Popcorn with some butter. And I'm going to...
Just like butter and salt? Like that's it?
Butter and salt popcorn.
Love it.
Maybe just butter and salt. I don't know. Maybe I don't need the popcorn. But it's a lazy day. It's around home. It's like I maybe brush my hair and teeth.
Uh-huh.
It's just a free-for-all.
And that's it. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't do anything. The goal is I don't do housework. The goal is to do nothing important.
Yeah. And I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, if I have a lazy day, I'm going to also stay in pajamas. I'm probably going to bake something. I've mentioned this multiple times on the pod. I love making sourdough. Do you know what I love? I love the feel of the dough. There's something about like when you're kneading dough, the way that it feels is so like rustic and pure and primitive kind of thing. It's just like, it's such a beautiful motion and it feels like just the texture of it is so lovely. But I love watching, I baked a loaf this morning and I brought half of it for you today.
Which is the right
right?
Yeah.
And I told my husband as it was like in the oven and I'm peeking at it with the oven light, I said, isn't it wild that all that is flour, water, and salt?
Yeah.
And it makes this perfect food. Like I love sourdough so much. So I'm going to be baking and then I'm probably going to have something on in the background, whether it's like listening to a podcast or I watch like photography education videos or I'll watch like a TV show in the background. But in that case, it's not going to be something that I have to pay a lot of attention to.
Right.
Like not a thinker. Right. So, which is why I like the reality shows because you don't have to there's not a lot of like mental bandwidth that has to be applied.
Yeah, it's more like you just get to observe it and kind of have fun. Yeah, and I think that's the whole thing about guilty pleasures. It's funny because when we're talking about these, I'm like, why do we feel guilty? Because all of these are recharging. These are like recharging your life battery. And we've decided that that's like a guilty pleasure. And it's like,
it's not guilty.
It's not, it shouldn't be guilty at all.
My son and his wife like have over the years, because they have like a couple kids and it's exhausting when you have littles. Like we remember this, right? Like it is exhausting. You're always tired. And they like trade off naps or they trade off like who gets up early with the kids and stuff. And they seem to always apologize that they were sleeping. And like when they lived with us, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry I slept longer. It's like, your body won't sleep if it doesn't need it. And sleep is one of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So maybe it's not, but it's definitely a human, like you can't live with it.
Yeah.
So your body won't sleep if you're not tired. And that is not something you should ever have to apologize for. So I've said that multiple times, like we never shame for people that sleep. Like that is not, if you want to sleep in, if you want to take a nap, if you want to go to bed early, no judgment. That's a judgment-free zone because our body needs sleep.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. So feeling guilty about taking naps is like, I don't jive with that.
I think that the whole idea, the reason we decided to call it guilty pleasures is it was something we actually really did feel like a little bit bad about doing, like taking time to spend on yourself. And I think women especially have a lot of guilt associated with, like, if they have a free day and to do nothing, like most women really struggle.
Well, I should be cleaning. I should be doing laundry.
Yes.
I should organize the pantry. I should,
reorganize the garage. It's always about organizing something or cleaning something up, or cleaning out the fridge or doing some gross housekeeping thing that I don't want to do. And I'll tell my husband, like, I'll be sitting in the recliner with 3 dogs on me and I'll be like, I should go and it's Saturday.
Does he say, stop shooting all over yourself?
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, why do you feel like you have to do something? Like, it's okay to not do anything. Everybody needs a day where they don't feel forced to do something. I know.
Yeah.
Amen for us.
Yes. We give you permission to take downtime unapologetically.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
These aren't really that guilty. It's like, why do we feel bad for doing things that probably improve our mental health, improve our overall health, and just, make you feel like you can go and face another day.
Right.
It's like
I do royal icing cookies as well, like the really fancy, designs and stuff with royal icing. And I have figured out a recipe to where it doesn't taste like you're going to crack a tooth, and it doesn't taste like you're just biting into sugar. Like, I love but it's so therapeutic for me to sit at my coffee table and just decorate cookies for whatever occasion. And because it has to go in steps, and it's very therapeutic for me to just sit and do that while something is playing or watching or whatever, because it's super relaxing to me.
Yeah.
And that's not really productive. Like, I'm making cookies and that's great. People get to eat them. But if we just need to eat, there are easier things to make than royal icing.
Yeah. I think for some people it's the ritual or the string of the actions that you take. There is something, like when you're talking about kneading dough, I know I read some, I can't remember what article it was on, but it was talking about that it is actually like therapeutic for some people. And it could be bread dough or it could be clay. It's like that, the act of doing something physical that has a repetitive,
Right. Well, watching it go from just like flour and water and starter, and it's called like a shaggy dough when you pull it and it just rips off because it hasn't, like, the gluten hasn't strengthened. And as you do the stretch and folds every half hour for the first couple hours, it starts to gain elasticity. And then when you knead it, it's just like, oh, I love it so much.
I think we're going to have to do a bread episode.
Heck yes.
We love it.
I sound like such a grandma. I'm like so excited about baking.
That's okay. If you are excited about baking, it is okay.
No shame in that game.
No shame. We are a shame-free zone. You can,
yes.
If you like making martinis, that's okay too.
Yeah.
Make one for me.
You know what? I love Manhattans, which is the bourbon version of martini.
Yeah, I like those.
Yeah, and I realized I can't keep this stuff in my house to make Manhattans because I love them so much. When I first was like, oh my gosh, I can make these.
I'll have a cocktail.
Jeff comes home at 6:30 on a Tuesday, and I'm just. And he's like, are you drunk? And I'm like, yeah. And he was like, he's like, oh my God, you've been making Manhattans. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, it's 6:30.
That's mad.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Have a cocktail in the afternoon at work.
And I realized in that moment, maybe I'm not meant to mix drinks in my own home.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, ooh, that tastes like another one. But if I'm out at a bar, it's like, that's another $18.
Yeah.
Another $18 drink. No. That's true. So there's a organically built-in limiter to how much I'll drink if I have to pay for it on the spot. So I just realized I can't keep stuff in my house to make Manhattans. Isn't that ironic?
What we've learned right now.
But imagine the self-control.
You had an awareness of that. Yes. So the main thing keeping us from being drunk every day from noon till 6 p.m. is we're cheap.
Yeah.
That's really what.
I'm not cheap, I'm frugal. I think there's a big difference.
We're being conservative with how much money we budget for
economy. I'm just kidding. So.
For our alcohol intake.
Yeah.
I do get kind of crazy when I go out and I see how much it is. I'm like,
yeah.
Like a basic cocktail now is like $15.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. And I could justify by saying I'm just going to go buy a bottle.
I don't drink very often, so it's
I don't
it was just funny that I think I'd had like 4 Manhattans and just like, holy crap, you are wasted.
Because you really are just
It's like, it's not even dinner time. I'm like,
I'm proud of you. Huh?
yeah, that was a couple years ago, and it was like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe I shouldn't do that. So I'd like no maraschino cherries, no sweet vermouth.
Yeah, just keep that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe just once a year, New Year's, you can have it and you can do
You bet.
whatever because guilt is not in our vocabulary anymore. You can absolutely
I'd have to say a mixing drinks story. So we have a friend named Tyson.
Oh, yeah.
You know Tyson. So he's a good friend of ours, and I had like a housewarming party or something like 14 years ago, and he brought a bottle of Bacardi 151, which is like, I don't know, gasoline.
It is.
Level stuff. And he left it at my house, which I still have
Oh, my God.
almost all of it from, I mean, does alcohol go bad?
Some of them do.
Not gas.
Don't. I don't know if it's already gasoline.
My middle daughter a few years ago decided she was going to make homemade eggnog,
Oh.
and it called for rum.
Oh, okay.
And she looked in the liquor cabinet. She's like 27, so it's not like she's like a little kid. She's like, oh, here's some rum. So she puts like a cup and a half
Oh, goodness.
of 151. It was like,
The strong.
we're like, oh, you made eggnog. Oh, breathes fire immediately. It was like, what did you put in here? And she was like, oh, the rum. And I was like, we don't have, what? And she showed me. I was like, oh my God.
Everybody hammered.
It was, yeah.
One.
It was, yeah.
One nog.
Yeah.
Just one small nog.
Back to guilty pleasures. I do love eggnog. An eggnog latte is in like my top 5 favorite things to consume.
Oh, I like
love an eggnog.
seasonal. Like, I'm like, why is eggnog seasonal? Like, I feel like it should be all year round. And I'm always sad they only have it, at the coffee shops for the Christmas time. But you know what? Eggnog is one of those people either love it or they hate it. And I love it. Like some people like it.
I don't drink it straight. Like if I'm going to drink it, I'll mix it with milk.
Yeah.
I'll do half milk.
It's very heavy.
Like syrupy. But so when I was in my 20s, Coffee Mate had an eggnog flavored creamer one year in like the little bottles. And I was living with my parents at the time, and they had an extra freezer in the garage. And I bought like 50 something bottles of
my gosh.
creamer.
You're like,
And then I had it all year.
so smart.
It's surprising that I still like eggnog, in fact.
Yeah.
So
You had that many bottles. Yeah.
So outside of consumables, like I love a good book. I actually ping pong back and forth between like nonfiction and fiction. So it's either going to be like a self-help, build your business, how to do marketing, think of yourself in a better way kind of thing, or it's going to be a fictional
angels.
angels. Do you know what my favorite read in the last couple of years was the Sarah J. Maas series, the Court of Thorn and Roses series?
Oh, haven't heard of it.
What? Court of Thorn and Roses? You haven't heard of? Girl.
Okay.
Okay. So the first book, there's like 5 books in the series. Like the first 95% of the book is its own story, and the last 5%, you're literally like, what? Like I couldn't
Put it down.
Oh my God. It was like, how is this happening? It's so good. It's so good.
Okay, maybe I'm going to have to. See, I haven't been reading a lot the last few years because I'm on screen so much for my job. I'm with the computer all day, and then I'm on my phone a lot. And my eyes, I just like for reading, I'm like.
Have you seen references to like Akotar, AC? Oh, okay. That's a Court of Thorn and Roses. So you would love it. It's, I'm not even going to tell you what it's about.
Ooh.
Because that's good. You're going to think it's a Angels situation, but it's not.
Okay.
It's very good.
Yeah. We're going to read excerpts from Angels for one of our podcasts.
Oh, yeah. I need to find the.
Well, we'll talk about that book again. That would definitely fall under a guilty pleasure because it is garbage. It is.
Said with love.
Said with.
I'm sure that the author worked very hard on the whole series. And it was a whole series. It wasn't just one book.
Yeah, there's many. They are Vikings, angels, and vampires all.
What episode did we talk about that on? Was it the...
I can't remember because menopause break.
Yeah, that tracks.
We'll figure it out and put it in the note.
Yeah. So we talked about it on one of our previous episodes.
But yeah, that would definitely fall under a guilty pleasure. Like I used to read like Star Magazine and the Inquirer. I used to read those trashy mags as a guilty pleasure. I haven't read them probably in 5 or 6 years.
I mean, you don't need to because everything's online now.
I know, but it was back before.
Yeah,
showing my age here. Back before the interwebs.
That was very Mrs. Doubtfire. Sorry for those of you listening.
Sorry, we're having
the car stereos probably just went. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, it just
sorry about that.
Somebody's eardrum. Sorry.
We'll watch the peak.
There'll probably be some kind of class action suit against don't manifest noise in our podcast. That manifest. Yeah, I used to read that and it was like the mind vacation. Like, I just want to read about Elizabeth Taylor. That's how old I am, like Elizabeth Taylor in the 80s and 90s. So I definitely indulged in those. And I, was kind of like hidden down. I didn't want people to necessarily know.
Right.
I was reading the Inquirer. I can't.
So I have an interesting one that I wonder if you do this too, because I don't think I've ever talked about it. So I'm not a crier. As chicks go, I don't cry very often.
I don't either, too much unless
a dog. I'm not. Yeah, I'm more of like I cry for happy things, like they just proposed. Like, So do you ever watch something because you know it's going to make you cry because your bucket of tears is full and you just have to get it out?
You need an excuse to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I same thing for me. I also, it's just, I don't want to say I'm a robot because I'm not, but a lot of times I do have feelings.
Yeah.
I do. But when other people are escalating, like when my daughter was a teenager and she'd escalate, I would really ground myself and try not to feed into whatever was happening with the other person who was very emotional. So I'd try to shut that down a little bit and not participate because I feel that sometimes feeds.
Yeah, for sure.
In a cycle. So I kind of got into that habit of doing that. And so I give myself permission, I think, to cry I used to cry at AT&T commercials back in the day when they would be very touching. I know, but they'd have there was this one about a girl and her father. This was old. It was right from the 80s and 90s. And she goes, the girl is singing a song to her dad. And it says something like, he's the only mom I ever had. Like, she grew up without a father. And she's getting ready to go off to college. It was like an AT&T commercial when people talked on the phone to each other. But those kind of things would make me cry. Like if it's sentimental and about children and parents, that's my release. Or if it's about animals, that gives me I feel like that's an okay thing to cry about. And it's just weird that I feel like I need to have a reason to cry about.
Well, it's like, but you do kind of build up, like you have to release that emotion or it'll or you'll just have like a breakdown. I actually have anxiety attacks. And when I was seeing the therapist for it, she said that most of my panic attacks are, what did she call it? I think they're called tension anxiety attacks. So your body has like a bucket of feelings. And if you don't release them through like screaming, laughing, crying, dancing, sex, one of those things that like is like something that releases it in the screen.
The endorphins,
like my body will do like an overload dump and throw me into a full-blown panic attack.
Yeah.
And when I feel it starting to bubble up, like she gave me tools to like scream as loud as I can and like clench all the, like do something to release that tension. So I hadn't realized that. So when I start to, like, we were watching a reality show the other night and the people that were about to win, I was like, I got so happy for them. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like crying and Jeff's like, are you crying? It's like, and I'm like, let it happen. I need to dump the bucket. Okay. He's like, what? I'm like, never mind. It's fine. It's fine.
I cry at things like the Great British Baking Show, like when they're getting into the finale and somebody wins of that final thing. I always cry.
Mine's usually like I'm really happy for someone. I don't usually cry because I'm sad.
No, but this tends to be more towards joy.
Yeah.
Or
I do cry when I have panic attacks, though.
Yeah.
Because that's just like a fit of like,
can't control.
Yeah, for sure. I'm laughing. Anxiety attacks are hilarious.
Well, I think
not fun.
The thing is, guilty pleasures kind of works in with how we, release that valve.
Yeah.
How we cope. So
releasing the valve, that's a great way of putting it because it's like pressure builds up and you have to like airlock it out, right? Yeah.
Turn that knob and it lets some air out. So you don't explode. We don't want
explosions.
Don't want those. But I think we all should kind of rethink guilty pleasures and just say these are needed pleasures, not guilty.
Yeah.
They're necessary. Let's
Unapologetic. Yes.
Let's flip the script.
We're good at that, aren't we? We're
to my advantage.
Script flippers. Yeah, we're script flippers. That's what we are.
Say it like 5 times really fast.
I couldn't even say it slowly.
Nope. But we would love to hear some of your guilty pleasures. So you should tell us, because maybe you can give us some new ideas.
Right. I love a new hobby. Like, I love doing things that are just like kind of because I want to.
Yeah.
Like that. There's freedom in that.
Yeah.
And I think it's really healthy for you to have those like moments where you can like rest your eyes or rest your senses to where you're not expected to do anything.
Yeah.
And like,
especially from yourself.
Yeah.
It's not even the
I know. It's like, other people are judging me. It's like, no.
Yeah, it's the stuff, the pressure you put on yourself. It's like giving yourself permission to just take a break. It's okay. It's okay to have a break. And I think if we do that more often, then we won't see the overstimulation and the buildup and the blow up. Because I know I have friends and family members who on the regular are having a meltdown.
Yeah.
And, I'll check in with them and they'll be like, oh, I'm having a meltdown. I'm like, oh my God. And I'll go back and look through the text. Yeah, they have a meltdown like every week. They're having a meltdown.
Right. You got to release the valve.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way of putting it.
It's not that is not practicing good self-care.
No. Self-care is crucial. Like, you need to make sure that you're okay, because you can't be anything for anybody else until you're like...
Unless it's 6 Manhattans. That's probably not the most appropriate self-care.
Probably not.
Once a year.
Yeah, once a year.
Or twice.
Maybe twice.
Maybe once a month. It's okay.
We're pushing it.
We're pushing it. I was going to go for once a week, but nope. It's twice.
On the bread, yes.
Oh, good. The bread.
For sure.
It's good for you. It's gut health.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Sourdough is better for you.
It is, for real.
Not gonna lie.
But so after the show, we'll have some notes. Angie is good about doing that, and she'll give you some links and stuff. And probably one of them will be for a recipe for a good Manhattan, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I remember one time I was with a friend at a bar, and she was like, oh, can I have a sip? And she was like, that's really strong. I'm like, yeah, Manhattan's just straight alcohol. There's no mixer. It's always going to be strong.
Another layer of booze, and then they might put a cherry in it.
Yeah, the cherry's the only non-boozy bit. So
this is dangerous.
It's like,
it's got a cherry in it.
That's kind of a given that it's going to be strong because it's just booze.
Well, they're trying to put fruit in it to make you think, oh, this is fine.
It's healthy. I'm eating my fruits and vegetables serving.
Umbrella in it, I'm completely... Then I really feel like it's a free-for-all. Pineapple, umbrella. Oh, this had fruit in it. It was
healthy. Look at me being healthy.
Yeah. We'll give you can do it. It's fine. It's healthy. It is.
We're permission givers.
Yeah, we're
podcast.
not going to say no.
We are not the naysayers. We are the do the thing. Jeff and I have a rule. If you want to do the thing and you can do the thing, do the thing.
Do the thing.
So like, when we travel, it's like, oh, should we go do this? And he's like, do you want to do it? Yeah. Well, we can do it. So yeah, let's do it.
Let's do the thing.
Yeah. So do the thing, you guys.
Life is short.
Be a why not person, don't talk yourself into stuff.
Yeah.
Like, just do the thing.
Do the thing. That would be our biggest, that's some of our life wisdom right there.
Life wisdom.
And we're happy to give it to you. And so if
you are flashers, we love our flashers. Thank you for listening to us.
Yes. Thank you so much. You really deserve a medal.
You do. Yes.
And we might have those someday too. You might get a medal. But in the meantime, just remember, do the thing. Angie just told you. Do the thing. Don't say why not. Say why not.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Why not?
Yeah, do you want to do it? Are you able to do it? Do it.
So, and guilty pleasures really aren't guilty. Think of them as self-care.
Yes. And with that, we bid you adieu.
Adieu. Have a great day.
That's a wrap on this episode. If you laughed, related, or just need more, hit subscribe.
Check out the show notes to find us on socials and YouTube, and join our Patreon for exclusive extras.
And remember,
we're still hot, just in flashes.